Hey mama, if you're listening to this, you might be carrying a secret that feels too heavy to speak out loud. You look like you got it all together, you serve at church, maybe you even lead a Bible study. You smile when you drop off the kids, but no one sees the other side of you, the one that comes out behind closed doors. At home, you are a completely different person. You yell, you explode, you scream at your kids, sometimes in their face. You tell them to shut up. You grab them too harshly. You throw things across the room. You smack them in anger, twist their ears, spank them in rage, and immediately after, you are hit with a tidal wave of shame. You cry alone in your room and you whisper, "God, what is wrong with me?" You feel scared and disgusted by your own reactions. You're terrified that someone might find out. You wonder if your kids would be better off without you. You feel unworthy, broken, and too far gone to be redeemed. You try to fix this on your own. You listen to podcasts, parenting books, download freebies, but nothing changes. You keep falling back into the same patterns, and it feels like you are stuck in a cycle that you can't break. You don't trust yourself anymore, and if you're honest, you are afraid of who you've become. But here's the truth, Mama. You are not beyond hope. You're not alone, and with God's help and the right support, you can change. I'm Elizabeth, a mom of 4 and an anger management coach for Christian moms. And inside my Calm Christian Mom coaching program, I guide women just like you through a powerful transformation. This isn't shallow behavior management. We go deep. We address your triggers, your stress, your mindset, your nervous system, and the spiritual root behind your patterns. We invite God into every layer and walk hand in hand towards healing. In just 12 weeks, you can become a completely different mom, unrecognizable. One who leads with patience, not panic. One whose children feel emotionally safe around her. One who cultivates peace. This summer, I'm offering a Calm Mama strategy session, a powerful 15-minute one-on-one coaching session designed to help you uncover the root of your anger and receive spiritual, emotional, and practical support. It's your chance to experience what coaching is like with me before diving deeper into ongoing support. If we both feel like the full program is the next right step, we can talk about what that looks like for you. You don't have to keep living like this. Your family is worth healing, and so are you. Use the link in the show notes to book the Calm Mama strategy session. Hey friend, before we get into the episode, I wanted to play a short recording. This was on a group coaching call, and this mama was sharing her wins. She is finishing up the coaching program, and she was just sharing her wins and her experience with other moms that were on the call and the positive shifts she has noticed and her family has noticed in her. So I want to play these couple of minutes for you to listen to her share that, and then we will get into the podcast episode.
So this lesson just kind of really helped me to understand that you can't control other people. And we've been working on this. So it's not that it just happened all this week, but it's kind of coming together. Just how much better I feel. There's not all this pressure on me. And so I'm in a more pleasant mood. Therefore, my family's in a more pleasant mood. Just for an example, sports. I want him to practice all the time. I want him to do what he's supposed to do all the time so that he can be very good at it if that's what he wants to do. I've been pushing him to go because we signed up for it, but he didn't feel good one day this week. And I was like, it's okay. You don't have to go. You don't feel well. So those are some things that stood out to me, is just letting go of trying to control him, and then my husband as well, like just for no reason, just trying to control everything that he does. And I have not done that. And he's doing the same things that he's always done, but I guess he doesn't have to hear me nagging him all the time. So, and he's actually told me, we talked about it this week, that he can tell that there's such a big difference. And he's actually started journaling, which is something new for him. He's like, I can just tell that it's helped you so much. And I want to start doing the same thing. So he's asked questions about what I journal, and I've told him our lessons and different things. But those are some things that really stood out, just how much better I feel as a person. And the weight is off of my shoulders. And so what if he doesn't go to practice? So what if he isn't the best one on the team? Does it really matter? As long as he's having fun, he's 10. So it's just taken a lot of that off of me. And I'm not as angry. Like, I was so angry just because I can't control him. And I wanted to so bad. And now that I've kind of loosened up, he's doing all the things on his own. So that's what I've noticed most this week. Yeah. So it's been really good.
As I was re-listening to that recording right now, I had a smile on my face. This is one of my clients. She came into the coaching program struggling a lot with a negative mindset, thinking a lot of negative thoughts, and struggling with wanting to control her son and her husband and everything, and then feeling a lot of frustration and anger because she couldn't control other people, because we cannot control other people. We can only control ourselves. So I just feel so excited and pleased that she was able to share these wins with the other mamas on the coaching call. And in the next couple months, you're going to be able to hear her podcast testimonial. She's going to come on the podcast and share her story, why she enrolled in the coaching program, what it was like for her, how she started to notice positive changes, and how her life has changed after working together. This is just a little example of her experiencing positive wins in the coaching program, and I cannot wait for her interview to come out for you to listen to that as well. All right, let's get into today's episode. Does it feel uncomfortable for you to feel emotions? Do you tend to numb and suppress feelings until you just explode? Do you have a hard time feeling happy and joyful even when everything is going well? This can happen when your nervous system feels unsafe feeling emotions. So one of the mamas that I've been working with, she expressed to me that it feels uncomfortable for her to feel unbusy, to feel calm, to feel happy, to feel joyful, to be playful. It just feels uncomfortable. And anger feels more comfortable than positive emotions. And anger tends to just come out. And sometimes anger feels uncomfortable for some mamas, but in her situation, anger was just masking whatever is going on underneath, and it was way more comfortable than the vulnerable emotions that are underneath. And the underneath emotions could be like feeling scared, feeling disappointed, feeling unseen, unheard. There's a lot of other emotions that are underneath anger, and anger comes out as a secondary emotion to protect you. So actually, around that same time when she shared that with me, someone else shared with me this Instagram post, and I thought it was so great. And it is by Dr. Sharina. And I'm going to give her credit. When I read through those slides on that post, it really clicked for me, and I thought it was such a great post, and I'm going to read it out loud here to you. And it says, when we spend years suppressing emotions, our nervous system perceives feelings as unsafe. When we spend years in a protective state, our nervous system perceives vulnerability as unsafe. When we spend years staying silent, our nervous system perceives expressions as unsafe. When we spend years rushing through life, our nervous system perceives slowing down as unsafe. When we spend years feeling unsafe, our nervous system perceives feeling safe as unsafe. When we spend years feeling like a failure, our nervous system perceives success as unsafe. When we spend years worrying about the future, our nervous system perceives presence as unsafe. When we spend years criticizing ourselves, our nervous system perceives compassion as unsafe. When we spend years chasing success, our nervous system perceives contentment as unsafe. When we spend years finding our worth in productivity, our nervous system perceives play, fun, and rest as unsafe. When we spend years feeling stressed and anxious, our nervous system perceives feelings of calm and relaxed as unsafe. And I just thought that was such a wonderful way of explaining it. Dr. Sharina is who made this post, and it just made a lot of sense that a lot of my clients feel really uncomfortable slowing down and creating margin in their days because their nervous system feels unsafe, because for years they were rush, 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 go, 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 go. And it feels uncomfortable to slow down, to sit down and read a book, to decompress, to be in silence when you're constantly stimulating yourself. It feels unsafe to feel emotions when you've been taught to suppress them for many years. It feels unsafe to feel safe. It just feels so uncomfortable to be even in a safe relationship and communicating with a safe person because you've been in an unsafe relationship for many years. Maybe you grew up in a very destructive home. Maybe if you're used to worrying all the time about the future, that when you're actually present with your kids, when you're playing with them, when you are having fun with them and you're resting, that feels unsafe for your body and your nervous system. And I thought that was just such a wonderful way to explain it because it is normal and it makes sense why it feels uncomfortable for you to feel emotions because you've been suppressing them for years and your nervous system literally feels unsafe feeling those emotions. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to take a moment to speak to those of you who are feeling like you're barely holding it together in motherhood. Maybe your mornings are filled with yelling, frustration, and anger, and by the end of the day, you're filled with remorse, shame, and guilt, feeling totally stuck and unsure how to make changes. And maybe at night, you're laying awake wondering if you're even meant to be a mom, if you're ruining your kids for life with emotional instability, yelling, saying mean things to them, and hurting them in rage. Maybe you just wish you could have close relationship with your kids, get along, and be a fun mom, and it seems impossible for you. If that's where you're at, I want you to know that it doesn't have to stay this way. My Calm Christian Mom Coaching Program has helped so many mamas just like you, and it starts with a free consultation call. In this 45-minute call, we're going to unpack what is going on with you, pinpoint what is keeping you stuck, and map out a clear path to help you feel more peaceful, calmer, and in control of your emotions. And if my program is not the right fit for you, I'm going to point you in the right direction so that you're going to leave this call with clarity what your next steps are, no matter what. So head over to emotionallyhealthylegacy.com/coaching or use the link in the show notes to book your free consultation call today. You do not have to stay stuck in reactive anger. There is hope for you, my friend. So one of the things I want you to understand is that God created us with feelings and emotions are meant to be felt. They're not meant to be suppressed. We just need to learn how to feel them in a healthy way that is non-destructive, that doesn't hurt other people or ourselves or things. There's so many examples of biblical characters that felt big emotions. Jesus felt sad. He wept over his friend Lazarus that died. Jesus also felt righteous anger when people at the market made a market in the temple and they were selling things instead of honoring and worshiping God. David felt lots of feelings and he journaled them in Psalms. When we read Psalms, it's like literally his journal entries to the Lord. And there's so many big feelings in there. Joseph wept when his brothers came back to Egypt and he reunited with them. And these are just male Bible characters. There's so many female Bible characters that also felt emotions. God created us with emotions. Happy and sad, joyful and distress. He made all those emotions. Good feelings and uncomfortable feelings. You just cannot escape them. The only way through them is to feel that emotion. It is normal for it to feel unsafe if you've been taught to suppress it for years, just like we read in that Instagram post above. If you've suppressed sadness and loneliness and disappointment and anger, you will also suppress happy emotions like joy, peace, and calm. And then feeling all those feelings is going to feel uncomfortable. So what do we do then? It feels uncomfortable to feel emotions. And the only way it will feel more comfortable is to have more positive experiences of feeling that feeling over and over again and keeping it safe. Emotions are like a wave. They come, they get bigger, and they go. You don't stay in that same emotion. Like even anger, it comes and it goes. Frustration comes and goes. Sadness comes and goes. Disappointment, happiness comes and goes. All feelings, they come and go. And we need to teach our body and our mind that emotions are safe. So feeling the emotion of calm and peace over and over again is going to feel more safe when you keep having those experiences over and over again. Slowing down, removing things from your schedule, and having more margin in your days. It feels weird and uncomfortable at first, but the more you do it over and over again, it's going to feel more normal. It's going to feel more safe. How about feelings of frustration? We need to acknowledge it and keep that frustration and anger safe. And if we learn how to do that, and that's what I teach in my coaching program, it's going to feel comfortable and normal. I feel frustrated on a regular basis with my kids, and it matters how I handle my frustration. My frustration, my anger is safe. Is it frustrating when your kids don't listen to you? Heck yeah. I don't like when they don't listen to me. Nobody does, right? Every mom wants a kid to listen right away, but it's what I do with that frustration. How do I handle it? How do I shift my mindset? How do I redirect my negative thoughts that are contributing to more frustration? Also, another important point is to tell yourself that you are safe. It is safe to feel angry. It is safe to feel uncomfortable. And God can help you through that emotion. God can help me keep my anger safe. And also learning the tools how to do it. That's the practical aspect that I teach you in my coaching program. The only way we start feeling more comfortable with an emotion is by experiencing it over and over and over again in a safe environment. For example, I had clients that they expressed to me that it feels uncomfortable and weird to give their kids hugs and say that to them, I love you. Because they've never experienced it as a kid when they were growing up, and they don't really do it to their kids. And it feels uncomfortable to give their kids a hug when their child is crying, or just randomly to give them a hug and say, hey, I love you, bud. And the only way to make it more comfortable is by doing it, even though it feels uncomfortable, over and over and over again. And starting to feel that uncomfortable emotion over and over again, then it feels less uncomfortable. Or having deep conversations with your spouse about intimacy or finances or just uncomfortable things. And the only way to get past that is through it and having those conversations over and over again. Or, for example, talking to your kids about sex. Uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. And the only way past it is to keep having those conversations over and over again and feeling those uncomfortable emotions, and it feels less uncomfortable over time. And feeling those emotions in a safe space when somebody's not going to put you down or embarrass you or make fun of you or shun you out. And that's why I'm saying in a safe place, around a safe people, like emotionally safe place. So what do you tell yourself when you have the tendency to suppress the feeling. For example, you need to have an uncomfortable conversation with your kiddo about sex. Let's just say that. And you just feel so much resistance. It feels really uncomfortable. Or you know that it would be very valuable and important to give your kids hugs and a kiss. And that just feels really weird and uncomfortable. So, what do you tell yourself in that moment to get past that uncomfortable feeling? I tell myself having this hard conversation is more important than me feeling comfortable right now. Or feeling this emotion and having this uncomfortable conversation is more important than my comfort zone. Here's the thing, we never, ever, ever grow in our comfort zone. If I stayed in my comfort zone, I would never have a podcast. I would never have a program that would help women. You know how long it took me to actually give you an offer and say, hey, I have a coaching program? Literally 2 years into my podcast. For 2 years, I just put out weekly and bi-weekly episodes over and over again, having absolutely no offer, having no coaching offer because I felt uncomfortable telling you like, hey, I can actually help you. And the only way past that is to keep doing it over and over again. The first time I ever made an offer on Instagram, that was back when I was on Instagram, and sharing like, hey, I have a coaching program that can help you. I cannot tell you how uncomfortable that felt. Like I wanted to crawl out of my skin. It felt extremely scary and uncomfortable. And I still did it. And then I did it again. And I did it again. And then I did it again. And the more I did it over and over and over again, talking on Instagram and then talking about it on my podcast and then talking about it on my email list over and over again, the more it feels comfortable. Now it's second nature. Hey, if you're listening to my podcast and you're getting so much value out of it and you need further help, I can help you. And this is your next step, is to book a free consultation call with me. Let's get on this call, talk about your struggles, and if I think my program is a great fit for you, we will connect and I will invite you into my coaching program. Now I can easily say that. The first time, oh my goodness, it felt so scary. So my friend, we never grow in our comfort zone. If we want to grow emotionally, we need to step out of our comfort zone. And it does feel uncomfortable feeling hard emotions. It does feel unsafe. And the only way past it is to keep doing it over and over and over again in a safe environment. So how do you get past the uncomfortable feeling? Allowing yourself to feel it, and you go through it. Feelings take time. You need to start making time for your feelings. And here's an example. When you have uncomfortable feelings, when you have big emotions, and I will link some episodes in the show notes that will talk about how to process and release emotions in a healthy way instead of suppressing it. But when we have hard feelings, instead of suppressing them, not just like uncomfortable, but just like a hard emotion that feels a lot of a disappointment, betrayal, discouragement, sadness, anger, those are big feelings, and we need to learn how to process and release them in a healthy way. I'm just going to list out a few examples, but I'll list more episodes in the show notes because I've done episodes on this. Going for a walk, moving your body, crying is a way to release your emotions, talking to a safe person and processing verbally what happened and why it happened and how you feel about it, how it's affecting you, praying to God. I love going on a walk and praying to God, journaling as if you're talking to a friend, and my journal entries always often turn into a prayer to the Lord when I'm processing something hard in my life. Listening to music and leaning into that hard emotion. That is feeling that feeling without suppressing it. I remember I was once on a coaching call, and that coach she helps women with trauma. I do actually have an episode with her. Her name is Ellie, and she came on my podcast, and I will link her interview with me in the show notes. So maybe you can reach out to her if that's something that you need help with, processing trauma from a biblical perspective. And one of the things that she had me do, she had me close my eyes and like feel into that feeling that I was feeling of just a heaviness, and visualizing that Jesus was standing right in front of me, and I was holding this heaviness right in my arms. And then I just took all that heavy load of overwhelm, of frustration, disappointment, stress, all those hard feelings, and I just gave them over to Jesus. And like, as I was like visualizing all of that, I was like, I had like tears running down my face. I was like processing all those difficult things. And she wasn't even asking me, like, what is difficult things that you're dealing with? It was just like, I was able to go into feeling those hard emotions, the heaviness. She's like, feel the heaviness on your shoulders, feel the heaviness of these emotions in your arms. And then you're just giving them up to Jesus and surrendering them to Jesus. And that was such a wonderful visualizing, practical, and not even, I don't know if it's a practical, but like analogy. And it just felt so releasing. Like, I felt like this weight was lifted off of me when I gave all that heaviness to Jesus and just like handed it over to him. It was really great. I really, really liked it. It does feel uncomfortable. It does feel uncomfortable, and that is okay. Feeling uncomfortable is safe. Nothing bad is going to happen if you're feeling uncomfortable. If you're in a safe environment, right? Everything is uncomfortable before it becomes comfortable. It might feel uncomfortable to cry until it becomes comfortable. It might feel uncomfortable to have those conversations with your husband and kids before it becomes comfortable. Everything is uncomfortable before it becomes comfortable. It is okay to feel uncomfortable emotions and leaning into them. And the only way out of them is to go through them. I hope that makes sense to you. So here's my takeaways from this podcast episode. If you've been taught to suppress feelings for years, it is normal to feel uncomfortable when you feel them. Your nervous system just feels uncomfortable. The only way to get more comfortable with feeling uncomfortable emotions is to allow yourself to feel the uncomfortable in a safe environment over and over and over again. And the third thing is to remember, we never grow in our comfort zone. Emotional growth happens out of our comfort zone. That's right. I know. Doesn't feel great. I get it. And that's when we grow, when we face those uncomfortable feelings straight on, when we don't try to run away from overwhelm and anxiety and anger and frustration. We allow ourselves to feel and say, I feel frustrated, I feel uncomfortable, I feel overwhelmed, I feel anxious. Allow yourself to feel that emotion. I feel sad, I feel disappointed, and you lean into it. And this is the kind of work you and I do in my coaching program. If you're looking for further help, if you have a hard time feeling your emotions and you've just been suppressing them, and what happens is you reach your peak and then you end up exploding because you've been suppressing it and not allowing yourself to process and release emotions in a healthy way, and then it just explodes on your family. If you want further help and you have that tendency of reactive anger, book your free consultation call. You have absolutely nothing to lose. The link is in the show notes. My program is 12 weeks long. It's called Calm Christian Mom Coaching Program. It's for Christian moms that are struggling with out of control anger, who have a tendency of being negative, reactive, lots of frustration, overwhelm, yelling, screaming at the kids. And if you're ready and willing to do the hard work to break those patterns and to shift everything around with God's help, I can help you. That is who my program is for. The link is in the show notes to book a free consultation call. I need to know that if you are the right fit for my coaching program, because the coaching program is not for everybody. It's only for people that are ready and willing to do the work. I have a few spots open as I am airing this episode, so I would love to connect with you. And the next step would be to book a free consultation. I cannot wait to work with you, my friend, and to support you on this journey. May God bless you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Hey mama, do you find yourself snapping over the smallest things, like spilled milk or constant whining, then feeling horrible afterwards? If you're tired of losing your temper and you want to show up with more patience, I have something for you. It's a free training called How to Be More Patient with Your Kids so you're not screaming over spilled milk. Inside, I'll walk you through 10 simple things you can start doing today to become a calmer, more Christ-like mom, even on the hard days. To get it for free, just leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and send a screenshot to hello@emotionallyhealthylegacy.com. Or if you'd rather skip the wait, you can grab it right now for just $27. The link is in the show notes. Let's help you become the peaceful, patient mom your kids need.